Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for coming to this show for this 21-day plant-based challenge. And I'm really so happy today that you're able to make it. So, my dear friends, uh, welcome to everyone to this 21 days plant-based challenge. And today being day 15, we are here with a very celebrated, a very wonderful person over here. She is none other than Manasa Rajan, who is the head of the R&D department at EatFit. She has over 10 years experience in this holistic approach towards plant-based food. And we are here to hear her journey out of what made her get into this plant-based food and let us know all about her secrets, her secret recipes, everything, my dear friends. So if you have any questions, please write it into the chat box or on Facebook so that we can know what your questions are. So that we can answer as many as we can. So I welcome you with a huge round of applause. Manasa Rajan, thank you so much for coming to this platform and sharing with us your beautiful wisdom and knowledge with all of us because we really need it. We really need the holistic approach towards our food. Welcome,
Thank you.
Manasa Rajan, and
Thank you.
I would like to ask you to please introduce yourself to our audience. Who you are, where are you from, what do you do, everything about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Manasa, and I have been plant-based for over 10 years now, and I'll share more about that. In terms of work, I do a few things. I'm a holistic health coach by training, and I've been working with people around the same period, about a decade or so, with reversing lifestyle disease, with working with them on their deeper health conditions, and with the way of doing that is through making habit-based changes in their food and lifestyle choices. That's the crux. The crux is to identify what are the reasons that have caused this condition and to reverse those with changes in food, in diet, as well as in mindfulness, in exercise, movement, all of those things that we do in our in our life. In terms of what I do with EatFit, I look at the food and I look at the menu design, what people, the behavioral aspects of food, and to create a range of food across different use cases for health, for goal management, for entertainment, something that is tasty but can be very clean and healthy. So that's my work with EatFit. So I do a bunch of workshops to be able to work with a larger group of people around several topics, whether it's women's health, whether it's weight loss through habit changes. So these are a couple of different things that I do. That's about me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wow. But you have, like put yourself in a very short words, but we would like to hear more from you. Uh, like, uh, uh, have you been a meat eater before, or were you a born vegetarian earlier?
So I have been. My family was predominantly vegetarian. I grew up in a vegetarian household, but I did venture and tried, meat, and I did do more dairy for a certain, for a few years when I was living outside of my home, and when I just started working. And it was easy to slip into that kind of lifestyle of excesses in some ways, because I was out of home, did not have access to cooking, and that was the choice that I took. But in those very few years, I realized, even though I was very young, I realized that it was so easy for me to feel low in energy, put on weight very easily. So I struggled, and I could see the impact of my diet in my health very quickly. I'd always been an active person, played sports, but I could see that shift in my body and how I felt, in the few years that I ate that way. Um, and I had my daughter very early on. I was 25 years old when my daughter was born. And even at, it's a huge shift in the body
Right.
for any woman to go through a pregnancy. And, even after the first year after the baby's birth, is a huge period of change. It's a huge toll on the body. While it's a natural process, there is no denying that it requires a lot of care, nourishing foods, and a lot of care needs to be taken. So at that point, I realized that I was not feeling my best to be 25 years old and, kind of have symptoms of osteopenia, suffer through migraines. I realized that something needed to be done. That's the point where I started really understanding more, reading up more about health, about nutrition. I decided to study nutrition. So in the next 3 to 5 years, I was really focused into teaching myself more about this field. And in this journey, I discovered the plant-based lifestyle and the research that was available, and yet pretty away from the mainstream source of knowledge, information, mainstream media even, that there was this whole lifestyle, and that dairy was actually not good for you, and that this whole myth of what all we had been told through government sponsored media, that having milk and eating eggs is really good for health, and if you don't do it, your bones will be weak and you will not your children will not grow to their optimum capacity.
Blah. Yeah.
The sake of for marketing, or for even for pushing economic interest or financial interest, versus what is real knowledge. And the two can be very, very different. And we question all of the marketing messages more easily today as consumers, whether it's a packaged food making certain claims, or those malt-based kids drinks that are purely sugar, really. But I grew up believing, or my parents thought, that was the best choice to be fed every day, like having malt-based drink as a part of your growing up. And all of these were pretty blatant lies, to be fair. And that really changed the way I thought. That really changed the way I perceived information. Because till that point, I think I was a passive consumer, wouldn't question what was sold to me or what was available as knowledge. And that really opened up the way I looked at all of this, research, or what I considered to be, especially in nutrition. Everybody has a point of view which seems so drastically different, from each other. So what do you really believe? And that's a message or a thought I want to leave your audience with today, is that when you look at information, it cannot be opinion, right? It cannot be somebody's opinion only. It needs to have basis in some quality research that is long-term, where the number of people, humans, are there in that trial or in that research. And it's a substantial number. It cannot be a research done over 10 people being passed off as science. And all of this was available for plant-based foods. It was available in terms of how chronic disease has become so prevalent because of our food choices, because of accessible meat and dairy, to the degree that we're eating so much of it. Maybe at some point it wasn't so damaging because it was a minor percentage of what we ate, but today that's a huge portion worldwide in terms of what is on our plate is meat and dairy. And the power to change our health also is equally within our control. If we just expand fruits and vegetables and whole foods, we can significantly impact our health. And that was the key reason that I turned to becoming a health coach. That learning that it's not impossible, and the power lies with us.
Yes.
Within our healthcare system, we tend to believe that if somebody is healthy, it's a stroke of good luck. And if you're unhealthy, then either the doctor or God can save you. But the truth lies somewhere in between, that we have a lot of control in preventing disease, in reversing disease. That is true for diabetes, high cholesterol. It's not just genetics, heart disease. It's very much our lifestyle choices. What, not what we do once in a while, but what we do continuously, day on day, week on week, year on year, is what creates disease. So if we change that, if we change how we eat, like if 80-90% of our choices are, plant-based.
Yes.
If we eat and I'm saying that even if it's 80-90% of our choices that are plant-based, still we will do a lot for the environment and we will do a lot for our health. And if each of us can do that, our disease rate will significantly go down. Our healthy days will go up. We will feel more energetic. This whole heart disease, diabetes, which has become epidemic proportions, we will be able to really impact those numbers. So it's a simple change. It's hard because of the whole conditioning that we've had of what people tell you to eat or what we believe is cultural food. But it's very very much within our control. Each of us can make that change within our lifetime and see that impact. And I've worked with so many people, close family and friends, have really turned around their health with changes like this. So while it may seem drastic in terms of giving up something, what you gain is so significant that it's definitely worth doing and experiencing that in your lifetime, just to age slower. And when I say age slower, I don't mean it in an aesthetic sense. I mean for our bones to age slower, for our organs to age slower, for our biological age to come down at a DNA level. All of that is possible with eating more plant-based, having a clean life, and that's something that has great power.
Great, and I really like it when you said that it's definitely a holistic approach. It's a completely the way we see it, the body as a temple and not as a graveyard. So we need to treat our body as temples, and by adopting plant-based food, we really help our digestive systems and all the other organs to not be able to overwork. Yes. And really age faster than what it's supposed to last for. So even milk, it's very heavy for the body. It's very, very heavy for the body. It's very heavy to digest also. That's the reason why we feel bloated. Maybe sometimes we feel heavier. So by adopting to plant-based food, definitely you feel lighter, you feel more healthier, more energetic and more vibrant. So that's the reason why I have been urging, because I'm not sure if you have gone through our websites, Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement, we are all vegetarians.
Yeah.
So this is all to those people, and even otherwise also, even for the general public also. So to avoid all the animal products off your plate, of your cups, of your glasses, and adopt only plant-based food. So then what is this holistic approach that you're talking about? How more can we improve our plant-based food in a holistic way?
So we struggle with a few things, right? And that's a part of our modern living. One is evolutionary wise, we are designed for seeking two things, right? We are trying to create survival at all times so that we don't die, and that's easy to happen in when you live in the wild, and also improve pleasure, because you are seeking that as a living thing. And in terms of food choices, now we are in a situation where there's no dearth of anything. We had to seek our food, so we looked for things that were absolutely high calorie, which gave us the maximum nourishment so that we survived, and also maximum pleasure, because when you eat something sweet or something fatty, it makes you feel good. And that was, that could be in nature like a really great, pretty looking fruit because it was sweet. But now we're in a situation where food is available constantly. Yet by instinct, we are tuned to make the same evolutionary choices, which is seek out the most high calorie foods, which are either very sweet or very fatty. So deep fried foods or desserts and something sweet or candies. So we get attracted to foods like that. But what we got once in a while, and not every day, not every week, was fine. And it was natural and whole and, made by nature. But now when we choose that, while it is sweet and fatty, it is also made in a lab. So it has chemicals. It's not food. It's a food-like substance. It is highly processed. So it doesn't have the fiber that is required for it to slowly break down in the gut. It's an instant digestion, which means our blood sugar surges. Every time our blood sugar surges and drops, it also creates disease. It creates instability in our hormones. It creates, things like diabetes. It puts pressure on our other hormones, other organs. And when that happens very often, it's easy to get chronic disease. It's easy to put on weight. It's easy to overeat these things because we are designed by nature to do that. So then what is holistic and what is intuitive to eat? How do we figure that out? So if we move out of eating highly processed foods and eat whole foods, like it's very difficult to overeat apples or overeat anything that is whole, like spinach or any kind of vegetable that is raw. It's impossible almost. And even if you do eat a lot and you feel stuffed, in terms of calories, it's not significant. So if we eat that way and start being mindful of feeling hungry, physical hunger, and not because we had a food thought, we thought of food and we ate it, or we looked at an image of a burger and we ate it, or we saw something on television and we ate it, or somebody spoke about, oh, did you remember that pav bhaji that you had that day, and now I feel like eating pav bhaji, so I will quickly order pav bhaji. It's as simple as that. But just realize what is real hunger before eating each time. So you should feel physical hunger, and it takes a while to figure this mindful eating. And then also being tuned into your food when you're eating. So which means not being distracted by television, not having a stressful conversation, not being on the phone, not checking email, not reading anything, but being focused in that activity. And that does few things. It tells us when we are full. It tells us the point of being full where we should stop eating, so we don't overeat. It also lets our body focus on digestion and not any other activity. So the blood flow will be in the digestive organs, and it will ensure that all of the absorption of nutrition from that food is optimum. So all of these will together ensure that whatever you're eating, you're maximizing it and you're not overeating, or you're not eating out of any other reason except pure hunger. So automatically, it'll be a more mindful way of eating. And of course, then there are other aspects to our health other than food, which is movement, which is having some mobility in our joints, being flexible, because that improves our posture, being able to deal with stress. Stress is so much a part of our lives. It has, I think, the maximum impact today on all aspects of our health, our sleep quality, how we digest our food even, or whether we overeat because we are we are feeling stressed or we're feeling anxious. It's easy to want to feel good with something comforting, and usually a lot of people seek that in food. So how do we create tools to be able to manage our stress better, or that mindset to be able to deal with our stressors better? And there is a whole journey to it. It's also about, are we getting stressed about the simplest of things? We're getting stressed in traffic. Like if there is traffic, there is very little that we have control over, but we feel stressed. It's an instant reaction. So it really, and if you're feeling stressed at work every day, or if you're stressed in a relationship constantly, it's about deep questioning as to what you want from your life. If you're constantly working in a job that frustrates us or doesn't satisfy us, or that doesn't align to our purpose. For instance, if somebody, does not smoke, has, cancer in the family, and is working for a tobacco company, it doesn't align to that person's purpose. But we feel that we can kind of separate the two, but sometimes it's important to align and not separate, so that you feel motivated and happy and positive going into work every day. So it's a simple example, but it can be in different ways, right? You might want to be an entrepreneur, but you're stuck in a boring job which doesn't satisfy you. all of this adds to our stressors and why we feel more anxious, more troubled. So it's important to really go deep into each aspect. Who is your partner? Who are your friends? Who do you spend your time with? How much do you socialize? Is that all right for you? Is it making you happy? So your choices should align and be in the right direction for you as a person. And that can be different for different people. Second is, of course, learning tools like deep breathing, pranayama, meditation to help you deal with the stress that you have in your life. And to be able to use it as a tool when you need it, you have to practice it every day. Only then you can use it when you need it. So both are important, that alignment to your purpose and what makes you happy. Like most people may not know today what makes them happy. So it's important to deeply question what makes you happy and answer that for yourself. And then to work on these tools. So all of this together, because we are such intelligent creatures and intelligent at a bodily level, like each cell talks to the other cell, the way the hormones work are so complex. So it's important that we sleep very well, the quality of our sleep is good, we're able to manage stress, we move and we exercise and our blood circulation is better, detoxification is better, and we eat in to great health. And any one element that is not aligned will cause some sort of condition that we'll have to work to heal. So that is my approach when I work with people, is to align all of these different areas, because they all contribute to us not feeling our best. And when all of it, and nobody is in a perfect spot of having 100% everything in alignment. It's a constant work in progress. But as long as we are aware of what is it that work, and that's a great start point already.
Wow, I'm bowled over. I'm totally bowled over. The kind of wisdom and the knowledge that you have, it's simply amazing. And yes, definitely, everything in alignment will help an individual. It's not just one thing that helps an individual. It's a total package of what you say, the stress workouts, or the meditation, the kind of the right food, and having the right mindset, or the mental capacities. And these are all included in a package for us to have a well balanced life, a happy and a healthy life. That is so true. And coming to the diet, we have some questions which have been posed by our audience. Like, uh, I myself am a completely plant-based food person. I have turned completely plant-based in November 2018, and I have felt much better, much lighter, and it's like I have freed myself of something. That attitude has come in, and since then have been advocating plant-based food to everyone. So now that so these people have so many questions, like, um, what about my protein if I don't have certain foods? What about my calcium if I don't drink milk? My calcium intake will be stopped if I don't drink milk. So where do I get my vitamins from? Isn't plant-based food expensive? So there are so many questions that many people have, and how do you propose to answer that?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So I think, yes, there are all of these myths around the plant-based lifestyle. So yeah, let's start with calcium, because like we were discussing a few minutes earlier, we have been told that there is calcium only in milk. But the truth is that there is calcium in everything. The cow, the animal, got the calcium in its milk through eating grass. So that's something to remember, that all of the minerals, all of the vitamins, even if people choose to consume animals, the source for that ingredient or that that nutrition is coming from the plant-based sources only. It doesn't exist otherwise. So for calcium and for magnesium, which are bone enhancing, because calcium, why people are interested in calcium is for bone health, for joint health. And especially as women, we need to be extra cautious, because post-menopause, it's very easy to lose a lot of calcium. So it's very, very important to eat plant sources of calcium actually, because you can absorb it far better than any animal source. So things like dal, rajma, chole, sprouts, moong, all of these are very rich sources of calcium. Then there are things like dates, almonds, which are again very, very rich. So all the seeds, sesame seed, which is 10 times more calcium than milk. All of the sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, all of these are rich in calcium. All of the dark green leafy vegetables are very mineral rich. So when we eat vegetarian, plant-based diet, which is has all of these things, and in our Indian cultural cuisine, these come very naturally. Eating dal as a portion of 2 meals in a day is a very normal thing, and we get our calcium requirement fulfilled. And on the contrary, if we only depend on milk for calcium, it has a negative impact, because there was this study done on some of the Scandinavian countries where milk is produced, and their instances of hip fractures in seniors was the maximum, because their dependence, or they had dairy as a part of their diet more than any of the other European countries. And that's pretty significant, because more dairy means your body is creating an environment where it has to work very, very hard to digest or to break down that milk protein, because we are not designed to digest milk protein. It's another animal's milk. So when we break it down and we have so much of it, it puts extra pressure, and we lose calcium just to digest. We lose electrolytes just to digest that milk protein. So which means it is a counterintuitive thing. When we are eating this food, we are losing calcium. So over a period of time, it will impact our bones. And that is why, as dairy has become more predominant and larger part of our diet, the instances of osteoporosis have also grown so much. When the access to dairy was limited and refrigeration was impossible, women tended to be having better joint health till their 60s, 70s. But now that is not the case. It happens very, very early on. Yeah. So you mentioned protein, and yes, I think the protein has taken the world by storm, and we all feel that we are not eating enough of it. But the fact is, unless we are losing weight at a fast pace, we're not protein deficient. So which means we have enough protein from a survival point of view, or enough from a dietary point of view. But we do need protein for a few other things. One is that it's very easy, especially if you're watching your weight, it's very easy to feel satiated with a meal if you have protein in every meal. It will keep you full, you'll not have cravings, you'll not overeat. And this is in context to eating refined carbs. If I'm eating a bun or a piece of cake, protein is better, because I will have that high and low that comes with refined carbs. But if you're eating whole foods, again, the amount of protein doesn't matter that much, because complex will keep you satiated in the same way, because they have fiber. But at the same time, there are so many plant-based sources of protein, again, more bioavailable, and they're simpler proteins rather than the complex protein of an animal. So think of this like a bead jewelry that children have, where you put different colored beads to make a necklace, and different amino acids are needed to make more complex chains. So for human beings, we need a certain kind of necklace with different colored, very specific amino acids, or essential amino acids that the body can't produce. So when we eat plant-based sources, all the nuts, seeds, dark greens, lentils, and beans, we get all of the amino acids that we need, and the body will put together the exact necklace that we need of the long-chained protein. But they're all simple proteins, like 2 beads, 1 bead. So that's how we get our amino acids. But when we eat an animal-based protein, we get different necklaces already, which have different colors that the animal needed. And we've taken that, now we have to remove things and create a different necklace, which is optimum for us. All of these things that we removed are also residing in the body. That doesn't always get thrown out optimally, which means that over a period of time, they're toxic for the body. And that's why it's bad for us. When we eat a lot of this, there is a lot of toxic byproduct, which can be disease causing. So the start of inflammation related diseases are first, cholesterol related diseases second. So that's a whole process of chronic disease is linked to eating a lot of animal produce. So in terms of protein, all our requirements can easily be fulfilled through plant sources.
Yes, yes.
On minerals and vitamins is your last point. Let me cover that. So the best thing to happen to us is when we eat a variety of plant foods, we get significantly more, 10 times, 20 times more minerals, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals through a plant-based diet. So that's not even in the same league of comparison. Our nutrition goes up significantly. Micronutrients, which are required for cellular recovery, or all of the possible requirements that a body needs for so many different processes, detoxification, elimination, or all the repair and regeneration work, anti-aging benefit, all of that happens. And that source, the minerals and vitamins, are so much more in the plant world than any other food. And the added benefit is fiber, which I think we have to bring that conversation more and more. With fiber, the gut health improves, and if the gut is in great shape, then everything that we eat can be absorbed better. The nutrition, is better, and gut is like the second brain. So, in terms of hormones being in balance, in terms of all the function that is done, can be improved significantly with better gut health. So, I think we do well on all those counts. Plus, the gut health is better, so overall health is significantly enhanced. So there, I think we've done some myth busting today.
I know. I mean, I've been trying to debunk all these myths since a very long time, but I really needed a person like you, a person who's an authentic and who's an authority on this subject to speak out, so that the message goes everywhere. That's
yes, I think it's important for all of us to share more about this, because mainstream media is not doing that. So it requires more of us to speak out about this lifestyle, about these choices, because they're good on all fronts. Right? There is the environment. You're not eating another living sentient being, and it's great for your health.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the reason my father, Brahmarshi Patriji, who is the founder of Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement, he has been working so constantly, so continuously, to bring this message of meditation and plant-based food to the entire world since the last 30 years, Manasa. And he has been working constantly to, try to make people's lives better, to try to make animals' lives better, to really support Mother Earth in trying to rejuvenate herself, to to really come back to normal. Like we have done so much of damage to Mother Earth that we really need to revive Mother Earth by completely adopting plant-based food. So that is where we have been working on, and meditation is a complete core part of it. And meditation is a must for each and every person. And these two are the strong pillars where Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement has been built upon. And
if you've touched your father and you have touched the lives of so many people, and it's such a strong message and such a simple one. You don't have to change your life significantly. It's a very easy thing to do. I think sometimes people feel very overwhelmed by this choice that you will have to give up everything. But the real message is of abundance. When you adopt meditation as a part of your lifestyle, the change that it creates in how you feel is so significant that then you can't do without. You realize that it's such an important part of just normalcy, to create that normalcy in your mind, body, spirit. And same with eating plant-based. It's such a small step for mankind, and it can have such a huge impact everywhere, personally, around you. And you'll also see impact in how you think over a period of time, the choices that and it creates the the circle of positivity. So it's such an important message that your father and you have been working towards. It's really commendable. We need more people like you, and more of us will create more change. And it's a whole circle of positivity.
Yes, yes. And I have to tell you, I myself am a customer of Pure Fit, of Cult, and I have been like attending these dance fitness classes and SNC and the HRX. So I myself am a customer for Pure Fit, and was wondering if when we have HRX, when we have SNC and yoga also, maybe we can include meditation as something which can be done in a class rather than having something in the app uh, where meditation is being given the guided meditation, everything. So I was wondering if we can do that as a part of the classes in Cult. So
Yeah,
that's just a thought which I wanted to share with you.
there used to be the meditation done in the studios, in the MindFit studios. So I think it's a matter of time to kind of get that back into the system. Right now, in your own space, but it works differently for different people. But yes, very much. We had this product or a class for meditation. Dr. Sham used to lead that effort. But I will share your feedback with the team.
Yeah, because many of us will be more than glad, more than happy to conduct these meditation classes wherever it's required. So definitely we would love to do that, and I personally would like to recommend meditation as an in class, like in class, just like HRX and everything else. So that being said, we would love to know your favorite recipes. Do you have any favorite recipes which are plant based for our audience to try it at home?
Yeah, certainly. So I love some of our traditional foods, which are vegan by default. I especially like using chickpeas in our recipes. So black chana, so with coconut milk and pumpkin. It's a really simple kadla curry recipe. There's like hardly any ingredients, but the flavor is so delicate and beautiful that I love that. So for me, I think now it's become a question of using quality ingredients. So when pumpkin is in season, use are really fresh, and that really enhances that experience. So anything to do with chickpea or chole and black chana are really, it's easy for me to love it. So rajma, chole, I love these things.